All right. Senator Taddeo, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. It's great to be with you, Lindsay.
You too. It looks like you have a furry friend with you this morning.
Yes, I do. If
Oh
I
my
don't
gosh.
poke her, she will bark. So everybody gets to know that I'm not just a water warrior, but also a dog lover.
A dog lover. Awesome. Well, my dog Cooper, I think, is a little too big to fit on my lap. He's almost 70 pounds now, so I will keep
Wow.
I'll keep him on
Yes,
this dog
that
bed.
is big. That is big.
Yeah, yeah. So welcome everyone in Facebook land. Welcome conservation voters. Happy Friday. This is Lindsay Cross, Government Relations Director at Florida Conservation Voters. And I'm so thrilled to be speaking with Senator Annette Taddeo this morning in our legislator chat. So we've been promoting water this week. If you've been following along, each week in February, we've highlighted one of our 4 pillars. We started with climate and clean energy. We had a public lands week. Last week was democracy, and we're rounding it out with one of our most precious resources in our state, which is water. And so I'm so happy to have the senator here to share some initiatives that she is going to be sponsoring this year to protect our water. But first of all, Senator Taddeo, you represent Florida's 40th district in Southeast Florida. Can you tell me a little bit about your district and some things you love about it?
Well, it's in Miami-Dade proper. So really, I don't have any cities. I am probably, I think, the only senator in the state that has no cities, only Miami-Dade County.
Wow.
Which is really, so it's all unincorporated, which actually means that they don't really, my constituents don't really have like a mayor or a council person for their local community to go to, which makes it a little bit tougher since those of us who are elected in that area are actually, representing them in Tallahassee. So it's the area of Kendall. It is very, very Hispanic. It's one of the most Hispanic districts in the state. And it's beautiful. Of course, all of us say that it's beautiful, but it does it ends at the border with the Everglades. And so we have a lot of water issues, of course, and restoration and infiltration of saltwater intrusion. And I actually ran, this is way back in 2017, but I actually ran on, preserving our water. So I have kept to my promise to really fight for us to have.
All right. It looks like the end of committed to protecting our water since you ran back in 2017, which probably feels like a long time ago. I know that you've probably seen some changes. Have there been some positive things that you've seen during your time in office?
It's hard to be positive. I'm so sorry. Look, the voters have constantly send a very strong message to Tallahassee about the importance of protecting our environment, buying back the lands. And it just seems like Tallahassee has a hearing problem because the voters speak loud and clear and we turn around and not do what they ask us to do. And it's almost like I got there and they feel that the voters don't know any better and didn't really know what they were voting for. Well, the voters knew exactly what they were voting for. And it's very clear that, there's special interests that really don't want some of these things that the voters want. So I say that like it's sort of been bittersweet. It's been great that the voters have sent a very strong message as far as the environment and so many other issues, but at the same time, it's been like pulling teeth, trying to get the funding necessary to buy back certain lands, the funding necessary for water projects, and obviously, I don't know of any community that's not dealing with a septic to sewer situation. Mm-hmm. And there's not enough funding that is so expensive. So there's a lot there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot we could do if we had the right leadership. But unfortunately, we don't, and we don't even have balance. So, I'm not suggesting that all Democrats are good. That's not the case. What I'm suggesting is that you do need a little bit of a balance at the state government so that we can actually give and take, so that we can actually move forward.
Yeah, it takes having, those productive conversations, regardless of what side of the aisle you sit in. But when we have a little more parity in R's and D's, I think it breeds that cooperation a little bit more.
Which is good for everyone.
It is. It certainly is. You mentioned the septic to sewer issue, and I'll just note that earlier this week, I got to host a panel with 3 phenomenal women who are involved with water conservation and protection. And one of them was Rachel Silverstein, who's the executive director and the water keeper for Miami Water Keepers, which of course is directly tied to where you live. She shared some stories about, the blue-green algae that was in Biscayne Bay and just the massive problem with nutrient pollution there and the number of septic systems. So I think it's a lot of the times we think of septic systems in our rural communities, but I think the figure that she gave was there were about 50,000 septic systems in that watershed, and with sea level rise and saltwater intrusion, she said that there's not even the required 2 feet between the septic systems and the land, which is necessary for those systems to operate correctly. And so it's really like we're sitting on this landmine of problems, and
we are. And in Miami-Dade specifically, this past summer, while we're still going through COVID and all the things. I don't know if people remember, but there were all kinds of dead fish showing up. I mean, it was just like really, really bad. And we've been warning about all of this, and it's not until I think picture's worth 1,000 words. It really was seeing the visual image of all these dead fish. That's when it really hit home, like, oh, wait a minute, something is in the water. These fish are dying. So it's not until they're able to really visualize it, because obviously we've known by testing the water that there were all kinds of issues. I think it was helpful to have those pictures, just like the blue-green algae, right? When we get it every so often, I mean, when those images are disgusting, and it really hits home to people as to what are we doing to our water, and then what is that doing to our bodies?
Yeah.
And what we're breathing. And so a lot goes into this.
Yeah. So back, I guess 3 years ago now, back in 2018, you were running for re-election, and not everyone knows, but I ran for the Florida State Senate that year. So we were campaigning together at some events, which was great. And the Tampa Bay area and the Gulf Coast beaches got hit incredibly hard by the red tide. And I had photos that I had taken, walking along some of my favorite beaches, St. Pete Beach, with the, iconic Don Cesar Hotel with literally thousands of dead fish and marine species littered across the beach. A friend of mine was hosting a race, and people were had to hop over dead fish to participate in this race, and the smells from it. So you and I both know that these issues that are so critical that our constituents are talking about, you get hamstrung sometimes when you come up to Tallahassee, and it's hard to pass good proactive legislation.
But Lindsay, I'm going to go back to what I was saying about having balance, because I don't know of any smart business person who doesn't see this and realize how this affects everything. So let's say they're not worried about the health of themselves, their children, or about the drinking water. Let's just say they're just worried about the bottom dollar.
Yeah.
The bottom dollar is affected too. So, we depend on visitors visiting us. We're in a budget shortfall. Why? Because of the fact that people haven't visited us because of COVID. But it's no different. Obviously, this makes national news. Everybody sees the green algae. Everybody sees the dead fish. I mean, who wants to come? Part of the reason they come here is because it's so beautiful. You talked about St. Pete Beach. Oh my gosh. I think it just got named one of the top beaches.
It did. It did.
So again, all these things that we love, it doesn't happen if you have ugliness. Polluting the environment, which really creates a problem for the economy. So again, put aside all the things that I personally feel about the environment. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about why everybody should be at the table talking about this and how it affects our future and our bottom dollar.
Absolutely. Well, our top two industries in the state are reliant on clean water and abundant fresh water. So those are tourism and agriculture. So you can't support those industries if you have polluted waterways and if we're giving all of our water away for free.
We are.
Yeah. So I know before we get into a specific bill that I really want to talk about, I know that you filed some really proactive bills this session, which starts on March 2nd in just a couple days. But they range from everything from healthcare and Medicaid coverage, protecting small businesses, ensuring voter right access, and better data reporting for COVID. I mean, you've been really busy filing some great bills.
I'm having a little bit of lag, but I have full bars, so I don't know if it's
sure
what it is. It's technology. Yeah. But yes, I have a lot of range, but Medicaid expansion is one of them, because I really think it's silly that we're sending money to the federal government, but we're not getting it back. And in a budget shortfall, we should be taking all that we can. But not only that, I mean, people, when they don't have health care, they're really in a terrible situation. And we have about 1 million people in the state of Florida who would qualify for a Medicaid expansion. And this is no longer a red or white, blue issue. This is really, so many red states have expanded Medicaid. And I haven't heard of one of a red state that has actually said, you know what, we did it, we tried it, it's not so good, let's send back the money. None of them have.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, it really is a good for everyone. So yeah, there's a whole range of issues that I filed. A lot of small business issues. Why? Because I'm a small business owner, and I really understand. And there's more coming because I really understand the how difficult it has been, especially now. During COVID, for small businesses to stay open, to remain open, and we should be supporting them every way we can, and we're not.
Yeah,
we're doing very little for small business.
Well, thank you for looking out for the people and the small businesses that keep our state going. Absolutely. So one bill that we're particularly excited about at Florida Conservation Voters is SB 652. And it's related to bottled water. So can you tell us a little bit about that? What are you trying to do with this bill?
Well, this is the second year that I filed it. Interestingly enough, last year when I filed it, this is a bill that would actually, create revenue into a water fund that actually already exists in Florida, but we just don't fund it. It has matching federal dollars. So think about it. All the money that would go in there, for every dollar, we're getting money from the federal government for projects such as septic to sewer. So it's very specific that the money would go to that. What is it? It's 12 cents a gallon for water that is taken out of our springs by bottling companies or by anybody, but the ones that take out water from our springs are bottling companies. Most bottling companies, interestingly enough, so people know, like let's say Coke or Pepsi, which are American companies, they actually get their water from municipalities, and they pay 12 cents a gallon. So that's where my price range came from. It's also a parity issue that all industries should really be equal in the water that they use for their bottling. The spring water, they're getting it for free, like zero. And in the state of Florida, anything, so people understand, anything in the state of Florida that is below the ground, it belongs to the state of Florida. So even if you own the land and you find oil, you don't own that oil, right? There's going to be some according to our laws, there's going to be some money coming back to the state of Florida for you to take out that oil. So for you to take out that water from the springs, same thing. For you to take sand, we have rock mining in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. Those companies pay to rock mine in the state of Florida. Those companies pay for the sand. Those companies pay. So all of this it's already in our statutes. Water is nothing. It's free. It's insane when you think about it. And then let me just say this for the people that say, I'm just going to have to pay more for bottled water. Well, first of all, you should try not to buy bottled water, right? Mm-hmm. Like we should try to refill our cup. I have mine right here, and I wash it stainless steel and with a stainless steel straw. But the point is, you should try that. But if we're gonna bottle it and we're gonna let them bottle it and all this other stuff, I just can't believe that we're giving it for free. I mean, these companies pay a permit, and they just got, and we're talking about Nestle in this case specifically, they just got an increase of 1 million gallons a day that they can take out. Now, just do the math. 1 million gallons a day at 12 cents a gallon, and think about all the resources that we desperately need for the septic to sewer that we were talking about. I don't know of any community across the state, rural, city, it doesn't matter. Everybody's trying to figure out how to deal with this. We know we have to deal with it. It is expensive, and this would be the resource that we would need. And it's not asking a lot from a company like Nestle, which is a foreign company, I might add, multi-billion-dollar industry, who were just saying, don't tell me you can't afford it, because guess what? Pepsi and Coke pay 12 cents a gallon, and somehow their bottles and what they're selling is competitive. So why is it that you say, no, we're going to lose jobs, it's all crap. That's all it is. And last year when I filed it, and I got a hearing in one of the committees, in the first committee, and of course, once it got on the agenda, then they started working overtime to kill it. And Nestle, so you know how impactful or how concerned they are about this, they literally started running television commercials during the entire session in the media market of Tallahassee, talking about how great they are and how great they're to the environment and all these other things. And it was just like they were on a campaign. And it was just me saying, come on, let's do something. Now, I'm not the first one to suggest this. I know that in the past, when Charlie Crist was governor, he tried to do this. And
All right. Are you back, Senator? You're having a little issue with with what the senator was referring to. Just this week, this has been more than a year-long battle. The Swanee River Water Management District did approve a permit which would ultimately allow Nestle North America, which is owned by a foreign company, to take nearly 1 million gallons a day out of the Swanee River near Ginnie Springs area. This would be a permit for 5 years. So again, almost 1 million gallons. Ginnie Springs is a very popular recreation area. Swanee River and the springs that drain into it, of course, are critical. And what the senator has been proposing, again, is a fee on the water that some of these bottling industries are taking essentially for free from our shared resource, which is our water. And this would bring some parity, and it would start to put a price on water, which is our most precious resource. So, Senator, thanks for joining us again.
No, I'm so sorry. I don't even.
Permit, which was just approved by the Swanee River Water Management District. And, I think there's this misnomer in the state of Florida that we have a limitless supply of water. And it's true that we have, some of the stats are just phenomenal. We've got 1,000 freshwater springs. We've got 11 million acres of wetlands. Of course, we've lost more than half of our wetlands, more wetlands lost than any state in the nation. And that's an incredibly disturbing figure. As we see more people moving into the state, we know there's going to be more losses to our wetlands, which are critical for replenishing the aquifer and also treating water, making sure it's cleaner, not only for the health of our environment, but for also the health of people. But as our population continues to grow, we've got 21 million people now. There's going to be more and more demands on our water resources and our other natural resources. And Senator, I don't know if you have a response to that, but we're really appreciative that you have filed SB 652. We think that that's really going to help our state, and we hope that it moves along this year and is seen favorably. I do remember last year when this bill came up in committee, it was temporarily postponed, which is kind of a tactic to just not take action on something, and the bill never came back for discussion, and that was due to some of the incredible pressure from special interest and from corporations that are trying to make money on the backs of our shared resources like our water. So hopefully the senator will be able to come back and join us. But I do want to let you know that we do have ways for you to be engaged in helping to protect our water. We have a Protect Our Water petition that we've been sharing with you for a couple months now, and we just made it over 2,000 signatures. So we're excited about that, but we would love for you to sign on to it and help us increase those numbers even more. As part of our Water Week, we are going to be sharing that petition with your legislators today. So we've got 160 representatives and senators up in Tallahassee, and we will be delivering that virtually due to COVID. We'll be delivering it virtually to your senators and representatives, and we would love for you to sign on and show your support for protecting our water. We'll be monitoring Senator Taddeo's bottled water bill, as well as other legislation up in Tallahassee, trying to fight to protect our resources, make sure that we have stronger pollution control standards, that we're stopping pollution at the source, that we are accelerating the timelines for meeting some of our water quality goals, investing in the infrastructure that we need, whether it's converting septic to sewer or replacing some of our aging infrastructure that may be leaking, may be contributing to wastewater spills, other things that protect our ecological and our human health. So, all right, you're back.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a Friday and it's a full moon, so you you get a free pass.
I did want to add something really important.
Please do.
That people should know also that the state of Florida has been spending millions of dollars to sue the state of Georgia or the state of Georgia and the state of Florida in this lawsuit over water.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically the Swanee River. So and the industry, that's saying that Georgia, because of Georgia, they're having in their fishing industry issues because of the flow of water. So all this happening, and I'm just like, wait, but we're giving water away.
Yeah.
All of it is interconnected, and it really is just, it makes no sense as a state of Florida that we're doing this. And to me, this is really just good policy. This has, a lot of people are like, oh, it's still a tax. Well, then why are we doing it for sand? Why are we doing it for rock mining? Why are we doing it? Come on, it's common. It's the way it's done and the way it should be done. And this is a precious resource that I do not think they should be taking 1 million gallons a day. But if we're going to let them, they shouldn't get it for free.
I agree. Are there things that Florida voters and residents can do to help support this bill or, other things that will protect our water this session? What are some recommendations or some things that you may need help with this session?
Well, obviously, all the good bills, it's really hard to get a hearing, which is why I mentioned that last year I got a hearing and they lobbied up. And so it's really sad when I tell people, they say, what do you mean by lobbied up? And I'm like, it just means that they hire a whole bunch of lobbyists and they go visit all these people and give contributions to their campaign. And this is what we're up against. This is why it's so hard to get good bills heard in the legislature. And I go back to the fact that we need more balance. When you only have one party, in this case, Republican Party, with the governor's mansion, the House, and the Senate, and they have the numbers where they even stack them up in committees, it makes it really, really tough. It's amazing that we're able to, at least the bad bills, able to do just enough to fix them, that we're able to have enough of us that are strong in pushing for making sure we fund our structure or our precious resources, Forever Florida, things like that, where it's been like people, I don't know if people realize how much we've had to beg to make sure these things are funded, not taken off of the budget. And it just seems like this is sort of like the thing that they don't worry about. They think about last. And that's just so backwards. And it's not the way it should be, especially, again, since we live off of our land. We depend on it being a beautiful place to visit or to farm, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, while you were having some technical issues, I shared a petition that we've been running called Protect Our Water, and we're thrilled that we have over 2,000 signatures on that. So you'll probably be getting an email from us later today that tells you some of the constituents in your district who are concerned about that issue.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Are there any other issues that you wanted to highlight with our conservation voters? I know you've got a couple days before you head up to Tallahassee, and then we start our 60-day session, and then we come up for a breath at the end of April.
There's one bill that I'm finalizing. There's one bill that I'm finalizing that I think I'm going to be filing. So I don't have a number yet, but it would be for areas, the adaptation action areas. If you're not familiar with them, that is in the Florida statute, specific areas that are at high risk of sea level rise. So these areas, what I want to do, and working directly with some of the counties, but specifically with Monroe County, the Florida Keys is really in a terrible predicament, and they need to raise the resources to be able to raise their roads and do specific infrastructure projects because of the sea level rise. So this bill would allow them, or any of the areas that are in this adaptation action area, as they're called in the Florida statute. And there was a study done by the University of Florida specifically about the raising of the seas and what it means and what are some of the solutions. So again, get back to funding. How are we going to deal with this? Where are we going to get the money? So this would just simply allow each community that is under this great stressful situation, urgent, I would call it, that they're going to be able to put it on the ballot and ask for a penny sales tax increase in their area specifically to be able to pay for these projects. So the reason why I haven't filed it is because we are really trying to really put it real well worded, because what I don't want is that the voters should vote for something and then the money is spent on something else, as it has happened many times. So I'm not against voter initiatives, but I am against the money being used not for what it's intended purpose. And we see this all throughout Florida all the time, right? We have, for example, even one that we buy, we fund Bright Future Scholarships. It was supposed to be for kids that from the lottery. It was supposed to be for kids that actually needed, and then it ended up being, no, it's only based on the high scores, but not a financial need. And, we just change it from the intent of what voters really wanted. And so I'm making sure that it's written in a way so that goes to what it's supposed to go to, because I know this is a problem that we're going to have to deal with. Every community is very expensive, very expensive to deal with the infrastructure and raising it, and with the understanding that it's just coming and we can't wait, and we have to be realistic. And again, if the way I explain this, people are like, oh my gosh, another tax. Let me just say this. If you have a leak on your roof and it's just in one little corner, the last thing you would do is just ignore it, thinking that somehow it's going to go away. If it doesn't go away, the leak then becomes bigger. Then it gets into the walls. Then you got mildew. Now you got a huge expense. That's what's happening to us with our infrastructure, and with the fact that we're looking the other way and not realizing that sea level rise is coming, climate change is here. Look at what happened in Texas. So we need to be proactive and much smarter about making sure that we invest a little bit of money, not little, it's a lot, but it will be less if we think long term and really prepare than what it will be when it gets here. The last thing we want is our homeowners and our people who have sometimes their only life savings in their home, that the community as a whole, that the municipality didn't think to protect their investment and in what was coming. So that's another bill that is coming.
Good. Well, I don't think that we can stress the urgency anymore, or enough. We can't stress enough how urgent it is for us to act on climate, and adaptation is a component of it. We also have to get away from our dirty fossil fuels and have a just and equitable transition to clean, renewable energy. So we have to be addressing the root causes of our global climate crisis, as well as the things we can do to support the communities in the meantime. So we'll look for that bill and other great legislation that you have this session. I want to see if there's any questions from our viewers before we sign off.
Well, I have a signal.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, now the internet is working perfectly, and that's how things go. Good. Yeah. Well, we put our petition, our Protect Our Water petition, in the chat. Again, Senator Annette Taddeo from Florida's 40th District in Miami-Dade County. So happy to have you here. Appreciate all the work that you're doing to protect our water and our natural resources, to look out for the needs of all of your community members. I know you're up there fighting. I hope to see you in person sometime during the session with our mask, maybe outdoors, having a cafe con leche or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah. So
you're using one of my lines when you said cafe con leche. One of my lines.
Oh my gosh.
Wake up and smell the cafe con leche, because things are happening, and we need to wake up to what's coming if we're not much more careful and think proactively instead of reactively. It seems like we react to everything in the state instead of proactively planning.
Yep. And I think maybe one of our new taglines will be "No clean water, no cafe con leche." Because you need water for coffee, right?
Can't live without our cafe con leche.
Everything that we love relies on clean water.
That's true. Yeah. Can't make it. Anyway. Well, I'm sorry about the technology. I apologize.
Blame it on the full moon. It's okay.
So it's usually pretty good. I turned everything off, and hopefully that's what it was. It was too many things coming in.
I know, we got too much stress on our working from home, and we're all in the power grid right now.
Absolutely.
So, all right, we'll take some time, get outside this weekend, enjoy our beautiful Florida environment.
Wow, we have it.
Travels up to Tallahassee, and thanks for all the work that you're doing up there representing the people in your district and all of Florida. It's really such an honor to work with you. And
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do, and to everybody, watching. Thank you. Thank you for caring about our environment and our water. But stay active, stay involved, keep those messages coming to us. They don't know, you may seem like, oh, do they ever listen? Sometimes we are able to make bills less bad.
Yeah.
Here and there, we're able to pass good legislation. And I go back to, just make sure that we have some balance in the state, because if we continue this way, we are going to be in big trouble.
Mm-hmm. No. All right. Thanks for your time, Senator.
Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.